I do have over 500,000 followers on Facebook. And then, of course, I have a newsletter that people subscribe to. And I can tell you that the way I got here is by doing every single thing that I have done wrong and then going back and fixing it. I mean, 100%. I have done every single thing wrong.
Welcome to Midlife Dialogues, where again we're talking to Chris Bordessa. This week we're going to talk more about Chris's online content business. Welcome, Chris.
Hi.
Did you say that it was 2011 when you came up with the idea that turned into Attainable Sustainable?
That was when I published my first post there. So the idea came a little bit before that. But yeah, my first post happened, I want to say January or February of 2011.
At the time, what were your goals with that? Oh, I know. You said you wanted to teach people some of these things and also eventually lead up to a book.
As writers, we know the term platform. We talk about Madonna being able to go write a children's book because she's Madonna, right? Not because she's written a great book. So in the publishing world, the publishers will want to know that I have a way to let people know about a book that I may write and help them market it so that the book will get out there to those people that are interested in it. I knew that I needed to have a way to reach people. So I started the website trying to get that information out to the people who are interested in it, trying to build up a collection of people who were interested in it. And I did that, through a Facebook page as well as my website itself. And yeah, having that platform, then the goal is to be able to tell the publisher that I have, this many people who are interested in this subject. Let me come up with a whole book full of ideas that will really help them in their efforts to make the shift that they're hoping to shift into.
And what are the topics that you cover on Attainable Sustainable?
It's a little bit broad, as an overarching thing. It's basically just learning to be more self-reliant so that we're not counting on the grocery store, or in the case of Hawaii, the barge showing up with our food every week. But within that framework, I write about gardening, I write about food preservation, and I write about home cooking and learning to cook at home rather than trusting takeout so much.
And you mentioned community, building a community. How has that worked out?
Definitely Facebook is where I feel my community is. That is a group of people, and some of them have been with me from day one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people who are interested in what you're doing. What sort of feedback do you get from people that are reading your work?
I guess it depends if you're talking about the website or the book or a combination. People are happy to have access to this information. I think it's important that people have a sense of trust with who they're getting information from. So by the way I've created this community, there are a lot of people who know that if they're coming to me for, a safe canning recipe or what have you, that they can trust that I've done the background and that is a safe recipe for them to use.
That's huge. That's huge that so many people are interested in that and that they can come to you and know that your content is strong and correct and safe, right? How does it feel knowing that you're bringing all this information to so many people and helping them live just a little bit closer to the land, so to speak?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I get messages from people. I have interaction, like I say, on Facebook and social media stuff, but I also do get messages in my inbox. And, it's so nice to have somebody contact you and say, this is, so useful. It's so helpful. I was able to do this thing because you showed me how to do it. And that is just, it's information that I have because I grew up with it to a point, or I learned it myself. And I've taken that, being the type of person who delves into this, and combined it with my ability to hopefully write things clearly and concisely and make it digestible for people so that they can take that information. Because when you look at a big project, and one of the things that for me came later in life was learning how to make soap. It sounds scary, you have to use lye and it's a big project. And I had to learn how to do that. But then once I did, I was like, okay, this is not that hard. How can I make it accessible for other people to do? I've been able to share a little bit about that. Or, canning, same thing. Canning can be very daunting, especially if you're talking about pressure canning. There are a lot of steps to take to make sure that you're doing it properly. And if I can break it down so that it's easier for people to manage, then I've done my job.
What are maybe 3 examples of favorite posts you've written or recent posts?
One of the things that I actually just went through and updated on my site, because it's updating things is almost constant with the website, is a post on mulching. And it's just a super, super simple thing. But we're talking about having drought here in Hawaii, and I know other regions also struggle with that. That is a a concept that people don't really embrace, I think, enough. So, I wrote about that. I've been trying to get my mom to embrace the idea of mulching. She's a very clean gardener and likes to have the ground tidy wherever she's gardening. And I keep saying, Mom, you're in California. It's very hot. If you put some leaves down or mulch down, it will help hold the moisture into the soil. That's just kind of a silly thing, but I think that's an important thing. If somebody's going to garden and they're fighting with this, water restrictions or drought, that's a super simple thing that people can adopt in their gardening.
That's very practical.
Absolutely. And it holds down weeds and it saves you time. So, why wouldn't you do it? So that's the kind of thing that I like to kind of help people learn about, is embracing tactics like that. Things can be so huge. And if you look at the idea of, I want to be self-reliant, or I want to be more self-reliant, that's huge. How do you begin with that? So yeah, I really encourage people to just take very small steps. And the absolute thing that I encourage people to do is to become aware. And if we're talking about food, that means you go to the grocery store, pay attention to what you're putting in the shopping cart and think, do I need that thing that comes in extra plastic packaging? Or is this something I could probably make at home? And it's just becoming aware of what our go-to is, and then rethinking, can that be redone? Salad dressing is an example that I use a lot. Salad dressing is so easy to make at home, but people are going and buying a plastic bottle full of salad dressing at the grocery store. And that's just mostly because that's what they know. We're all busy. We're leaning on this bottle of salad dressing, but it's pretty darn easy to make it at home if you're interested in learning how to do that.
And if you follow Attainable Sustainable, there will be recipes that make it easy, and they're free, right? You're helping people learn how to do this, and it's free.
Everything on my website, I've got almost 600 posts on the website. That is all free for people to use. Yes.
That's amazing. Now, let's talk about that as a business, an online content business. How do you make money from something like that if you're not charging people for your recipes and your information?
For me, it's primarily ads. I allow ads to run on the website, and that has been a bone of contention sometimes for people who will say, there are ads on the site. I don't want to see ads. Well, it's free. So by allowing those ads to be on the site, I'm able to offer all of this stuff for free so that I can pay my bills. Of course, I have my book. The book's not free. Other ways that some people can earn a living online include having a sponsored post. If you've got a particular brand that you enjoy working with, sometimes they will hire you to develop a cookie recipe using their flour or that sort of thing. I don't do a lot of that. I just haven't pursued that, and I don't really like to do that. And there are affiliate marketing programs that some people will link to with a special code. So it's essentially a commission that if somebody goes and buys that particular flour, you will earn a commission on that. It's usually pennies, but that's another way that people can earn.
How did you learn to do this? I know when we're growing up, we don't think, I think I'll grow up and become an online content marketer.
So much trial and error. I just started doing it, and there is so much to learn as far as running a website. I was able to, over the years, get involved with different groups where I could ask questions and say, how do you do this one thing? Or so it's taken, it's been a dozen years. And now I finally feel like I at least know the right way to format a post. I know the right way to, send it out into the world. And yet things are still changing. Things change, and how people find the website is different. What Google is expecting of people on the web is different. And that's just, constant evolution. So even though I feel like I've figured it out and fixed a lot of my problems, I'm still learning and changing and improving. So it's constant.
What do you like or dislike about running an online business, a website like this?
I love how flexible it is. It's very easy for me just to say, I'm going to take a day off. I have a day where I need to go butcher chickens, which happened last week. So I wasn't working at all. I was out butchering chickens, which, as my husband says, is still kind of relevant.
That sounds very Little House on the Prairie of you.
So I'm able to really be flexible in when I work and how I work and what that looks like. I really do like that. I don't like the minutia. I have a newsletter that goes out to my people at least once a week, sometimes more than once a week. That's fine. But that means I have another program I have to know and learn. The way that it's sent out, I have to understand how that particular program needs to be set up so that the newsletter will send out when it's supposed to send out. And that's the way it is with a lot of things. If I'm using a scheduler for putting up my blog post somewhere, I have to know the details of how to set that up. And mostly it's stuff that I have learned and I know now, and it's just second nature. But sometimes, especially if I shift, if I change servers or if I change different things, then I have to go through and learn how to do that again. It's the back end web tech stuff that I just really don't like so much.
Right, right. And last question, has it met or exceeded your expectations, this website and Facebook group?
Yes and no. I don't think I had any expectations. I didn't know what to expect when I started doing this. I was hoping to turn it into a book, which that did eventually happen. But also, yes, because I had no idea that this would ever get to the point where I had 500,000 people who were interested in this particular topic.
That's really amazing. 500,000 people. That's a lot of people. How do you wrap your brain around that?
I don't know. I don't think at any given point all 500,000 people are seeing what I put on Facebook. That's just part of the algorithm. So they're there, but they're not there. As far as how many people are actually interacting, it's a lot smaller than that.
But still,
it's a big number.
And this has become your full-time work for some time now, right?
Yes, my husband has always been gainfully employed, so there. I mean, I have to acknowledge that he was carrying a lot of that weight. So it was not initially full income for me. But at this point, I have grown it into a place where this is my business. This is what I do. I no longer write for any magazines. I no longer do any sort of freelance pitching or anything like that. I'm able to just focus on my website, which is great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Chris. It's really interesting to hear about what you're doing and how well it's going. This was great. And everybody out there, stay tuned for one more episode with Chris coming next week. Thank you for watching Midlife Dialogues, and we'll see you next time.